Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. I am Jason C., your Wednesday night host. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show on a beautiful Whiskey Wednesday night. Hopefully, everything is sounding good here. What is going on, everybody? So, I do want to mention this. This is going to be my first live stream that's going to be available on my podcast. And basically, if you guys haven't seen my podcast yet or listened to my podcast, it's available on Podbean, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I may do some extra content on it. However, basically what it is, it's just a audio versions of my reviews, audio versions of now my live streams. So I got a few requests for people to, for me to put the live streams on the podcast. So this will be the first one. So if you're listening to the podcast and the live stream right now, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. What is going on, everybody here? Let me say hi to some people in the chat. Let's see here. First, we have Truman's in the house. What's going on, Truman? Christopher David is here. Justin Jenkins. I think Justin's having he's having a good bottle share with some Mash and Journey picks featured, I think. JoJo's in the house, pouring some 1915 now to kick things off. Awesome. That's kind of the theme tonight. Sandeep Chima is in the house. How you doing, Sandeep? Mark S. is here. Daniel Sutherland. Bo's Wine Guy is here. Danny Lynn. Nice to see you as always. Russ Ellis here. Tim, still looking gorgeous, is here. William Wiley. What's going on? Nice to see you, buddy. Warren Smith. Cheers, 1915 fans. Dr. Sped just made some 1915. First time trying it. Oh, dude, you might be in for a treat tonight. We have Michael Speakerman is here. Bill Mills in the house. JG. Let's see. Sandeep, I think I said hi to you. JG is in the house. Let's see. Larry 3R is here. Michael McDonald. It's 9:02. What time does 9 a.m. live stream start? Michael McDonald. I know who that is. So sweet freedom. That's my Michael McDonald impression. Tom Shanley is here. Raging Irishman. What's going on, man? Nicholas is here. Black Bourbon family. Raise your drinks up casually. Guys, great channel. Jason and Brandy. What is going on, guys? Circle City Bourbon is here. Whiskey Juice. He says, Tim in the mood for bourbon, y'all. Pink Dan is in the house. What y'all drinking? Mamuka 1977 is here. Sven Dryden. Abrod, Lance, Jonathan Eady is here. What's going on, Jonathan? Steve Waltz, and a bunch of other people. R2 Bourbon, Don Purcell is here. Slapshot is here. Mike Daly says, cheers, everyone. Jason is a fellow New Yorker. Have you ever been to Whiskey Fest, New York City? No, I can't say I have been to that one. Eric Sawyer, how about a 1922? Is that 1922 with some 1924 mixed in? We could try that tonight. I got some extra glasses. We could definitely try blending some of that. Sean Holtgrave's in the house. What's going on, Sean? Ben Drammond. Don Purcell says, celebrating 25 years of marriage tonight. So I cracked open the E.H. Taylor. I'm guessing that's the single barrel. Good juice. Cheers. Congratulations, Dan. Cheers to you and your wife of 25 years. Awesome, man. Jeff Winbush is here. Whiskey Tube is here. And let's see. Interested in the Peerless, also predicting 1897 will be a potential upset. Richie Z's in the house. What's up, you legend? All right, and I'm just going to keep going down because I got to catch up. Let's see here. All right. So I had this cool idea, I think, that like every night, every time I start my live stream on Wednesday nights, basically what I would like to do is kind of kick it off with a kind of a new pour. I mean, I generally start with something that I usually know, but I'm going to start off with a new pour tonight, something that I don't even remember if I've ever had this. And this is the Heaven's Door 10 years decade series, 10-year decade series, age 10 years. Here is the bottle right there, guys. Take a look at it. Looking good in the neighborhood. Yeah, pretty nice bottle. As far as this was distilled in Tennessee. Now, that doesn't always mean it's George Dickel, guys. It could mean it's from the Tennessee Distilling Company, which is the other big distillery in Tennessee. But let's try it out. I can't say I smell a lot of Dickel on it. Tons of cinnamon on this one. Nice vanilla punch. Man, it's a cinnamon bomb, actually. Really, not like Ambiorana cinnamon, but yeah. Cheers, guys. Let me know what you're sipping in the chat, whether it be anything from Old Forester, 1910, 1915. You know, this is 100 proof, and it's actually hitting kind of nice. It's not too spicy, not too sweet. It's got a nice balance. I don't know. Have you guys had this one? I feel like, I don't know. I mean, this could be a sleeper. Bottled by Heaven's Door in Memphis, Tennessee, and distilled in Tennessee. Straight bourbon whiskey. I don't know. Now, if it is sourced from Dickel, I don't think it has the Lincoln County process on this one. Now, remember, George Dickel does it differently than the way Jack Daniels does the Lincoln County process. For those of you guys that do not know, the difference is that Jack Daniels filters it through a bed of charcoal made from, maple wood, and they basically burn it down. If you've ever been there, they burn it down, and they take that coal and they throw it in a vat, and they'll drip the White Dog through that. What George Dickel does is they take the White Dog and they just let it sit and soak in the charcoal. So instead of it filtering down and coming out and then going to where it's got to go, it'll just sit in that vat for, I forget the amount of time that they do, but they keep it in there for a good amount of time. Sipping on the new Desert Colt by Smoke Wagon. How's that one, David? I've had many store picks. Wild Turkey 101 from AB Driver. Love that. Wild Turkey 12 years. First pour from a new bottle, says Roger Reese. Love that. Yeah, this is a nice little starter. So tonight, guys, the big experiment. So I can't take credit for this. I mean, I don't know if it's something I would have done eventually, but I hadn't done it yet. And that's taking Old Forester 1915. Now, really quick, guys, just as kind of a precursor to that, basically, well, real quick, let me, let's see. Old Forester 1908 trumps 1915. Blend 1897 bottle and bottle at 1920 for 1908, 107.5 proof. Man, everybody's just making these cool blends. I'm digging it. So basically I think 1910 was released in 2018, I believe. So Old Forester 1910 released in 2018. And basically when that came out, that was kind of, it was supposedly the last bottle that's going to be released in the Whiskey Roast series. Now, 1920 was already kind of the darling of the series. That one was, released way before then. And really the big difference between the two is 1920 is made in that old Prohibition style. Brown-Forman was one of the few distilleries that was able to distill during Prohibition. So in that time, the way they were making the whiskey is it was, I think, going in the barrel at 100 or was bottled at 115 or coming out of the barrel around 115, something like that. And basically they wanted to kind of replicate that whiskey. So that's where the 1920 recipe came from. 1910 was built off some crazy secret recipe that happened by accident. If you guys know the story, Old Forester had a big fire. A lot of these barrels got really charred. Some of them were storing some whiskey, and out came this really thick, oaky, viscous whiskey. So they just basically replicated that. This was back when Jackie Zykin was there. And then in 2018, it released to the public. And then after that, it flew off the shelves immediately. And it took a little bit of time to come back on the shelves because Old Forester didn't realize it was going to, be that popular that fast. So as time went on, it just became more available. And then people just started blending the two. For whatever reason, 1920 and 1910 became the, the blend of the times. So you have, You have the higher proof 1920 at 115, and you have the lower proof 93, or I should say the 93 proof 1910. Blend them together, 50-50, different proportions, and people are enjoying it, going crazy. And I never really took those two whiskeys and then kind of blended it and then threw it in a blind against the entire Whiskey Row series. Now that 1924 has come out, which is another new addition to the Whiskey Row series, I guess they weren't done with it after all. Now we have a 100 proof 10-year-old bourbon in that Whiskey Row series, and now we're going to see if the 1915 is the best bottle that actually doesn't exist, that's not in the Whiskey Row series. So we're going to test that tonight with a fun blind tasting. Maybe we'll play with some other blends that you guys are recommending here tonight. But we'll also have a few new bottles that we're going to try here, guys. We have 2 new K-Lukes. So Jonathan Mazzano, the master blender over at K-Luke, was kind enough to send me some samples of their newest releases. We have the batch 2 of their toasted barrel bourbon, and then we have the one I've been waiting for, batch number 8 of their small batch barrel strength. So the small batch barrel strengths tend to be the ones that people have been going crazy for. I'll be interested to try this. This will be my first time trying the K-Luke toasted. As you guys know, I've said it a lot, I'm not a big toasted bourbon fan. I think when it's done right, it could be really good, but I've just had too many bitter, drying ones that it just doesn't do it for me. But I'm curious to see K-Luke's version of it. And then we have 2 exciting new bottles here. One is from Pursuit United. Friends Ryan and Kenny over Pursuit United. Let me switch this here for you guys. That is their new, it's bright white. That is their new Pursuit United Double Oaked Bourbon. Now, this just released in the gift shop, their new location that they have, and I think it also debuted on Sealbox for a little bit. I think it's sold out though, unfortunately. And then this just released. This is Peerless Toasted Bourbon. This is the new Peerless Toasted Bourbon. We've seen double oaked bourbons from Peerless, but we haven't seen a toasted bourbon from Peerless yet. So this is their first foray, if you will, into toasted bourbons. So there you go. So we're going to try these 4 tonight, and then we'll get into the blind tasting. Obviously, we're beginning some news, and it's going to be just a fun night. So there we go. We'll do a little bit of we'll do some questions of the day at the end, as you guys always like to do, and we'll go through some news. So so let's start with the K-Lukes here. Now that the palate's primed, get a few K-Lukes in here. So I think I'm going to do I don't know, should I do the toasted first or just the regular? Let me see proof here. 118 on the toasted and 118 on the barrel strength small batch. So it doesn't really matter. I'm going to try the straight small batch first before we get it, because this is double oak. This is toasted. This is toasted. Might as well try the straight one first here. So now he did send me some Litterature to go with it. And when I say literature, I say literature. All right. Hey, what's up, ADHD Whiskey? Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing good. America. Very, very cool. This is upside down. I'm going to read this now. All right. K-Luke Whiskey Company small batch blends are created sourcing from several different distilleries in Kentucky and Indiana with different mash bills, up to 36% rye with also different ages. Blah, 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 several blends. Okay, small batch offerings are now available in Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Wyoming, and online through Sealbox and Shared Pour. Our small batch barrel strength offerings have a suggested retail price of $115 per bottle. So, all right. That's it on the K-Lukes. So let me grab this glass right here. And let's get into it. How are you guys doing? How's your week been? Quick programming update, guys. I will be off next week. I will be in Chicago for work. So I will not have a live stream next week. But remember, the following week, Wednesday, April... What is that? What is that exact date? April 3rd. Wednesday, April 3rd. You guys will see none other than Connor O'Driscoll from Heaven Hill. Master Distiller Heaven Hill will be on the channel, and I cannot wait to talk to him. I'll reach out to some of you guys, some of the patrons, and see if you guys have any questions for him. It should be a lot of fun. So, all right. Chicago, drive up to Wisconsin. Tournament starts tomorrow. Oh, that's right. The brackets, guys. Who you guys got winning the whole thing? I can't, I haven't been really following it close this year, unfortunately. So I wish I'd been better at that this year, but I did not. Hey, Shauna Marie D is in the house. What's going on, Sean? Adam Dorman is here. We've got a nice crowd here already. 338 in the chat. Guys, if you have a chance, please hit the like button while you're hanging out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Going up to that 100,000 mark, hopefully, here this year. I know I keep saying I have a lot of ideas from cool videos, just finding the time to get out of here and film them and do all that fun stuff. So, but it's coming. I think I have a plan of action. Yeah, Holy Heaven Hill Master Distiller up. When is ECBP Rye coming? Says Lionel G. I don't know. That's a good question. If you think about it, Lionel, though, they kind of released it with the Parker's Heritage. That's what we got this year. We got a 10-year cask strength rye whiskey. I mean, basically, that's what Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Rye would maybe be. Now, are they making enough of it where they can release it 3 times a year? Probably not. Maybe once or twice a year. Would like to see. We could definitely ask Connor O'Driscoll about that. Just finished my bracket. Nice. Tournament starts tomorrow. Okay, let's see here. What is going on, Jason? If you got to choose between Old Fitz 8-year or Parker's Heritage or Parker's 10-year rye, dude, Parker's 10-year rye. The Old Fitz 8-year, I'll tell you guys right now, is not great. It is not a great whiskey by any means. I am not digging it at all. I tried it at the bar at Heaven Hill, I believe. I tried it. Hold on, let me do that real quick. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just checking something out here. Oh, all right, we're back. So when I tried it at the distillery, I was extremely underwhelmed on the flavor of it. It tasted youthful. It had that weedy. I did not dig it. So Old Fitzgerald 8-year. I got Old Forester on the brain. Old Fitzgerald 8-year to me was a big miss, in that series. Did not get into it at all. So Parker's Heritage, though, the 10-year rye is delicious. What's up, Abjar 55? If you're trying blends, stuff and whiskeys, banana pancakes, Eagle Parks, Woodford Double Oak, Old Forester 1920, that's a lot of banana. Man, you guys love these questions. Zachary Kennedy. So for those of you listening on the podcast, Jason, if you had to choose between Cedar Ridge Double Oaked and Fox and Odin Double Oaked, what would you pick? So here's the thing. I tried the Fox and Odin Double Oaked at Pours in the Park last year at the Bourbon Junkies event for the first time. And that was the only time I had it. And I kind of been trying to find it ever since. Ohio does get Fox and Odin, but I haven't seen the Double Oaked ever since then. So I don't know, man. That's a good question. Because I picked a barrel of Cedar Ridge Double Oaked, I probably lean towards that. I think for the age, they could be extremely impressive. But like, I don't know. I would have to try that Fox and Odin again, though. But that Fox and Odin, from what I remember, that Double Oak was pretty impressive. So yeah. Jason, if you had to pick between Coke or Pepsi, I think I'm a Coca-Cola guy for sure. I think I'm Coca-Cola. You guys are getting commercials during the stream? Let me check something. You guys should not be getting commercials during the stream. I don't have it on, so, or maybe it is on automatically now. Let me check here, guys. That's annoying. Oh my God, it is on. All right, I just turned it off, guys. So refresh it and then refresh your page and then see if you're still getting ads. Hopefully you're not, because I just turned it off. So, all right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was happening in the middle of the stream. It sounds like you guys are getting in the middle, which I do not want that to happen. Commercial almost had me buying shit, says Michael McDonald. All right, let's go to the nose here on the K. Luke batch number 8. So this one is, oh man, it is very sweet and very savory. I get this really nice, like bright apple note, but like a dark red apple. Getting clove. Definitely some baking spices here. A little bit of rye spice. JG says, I just might have an award-winning bronze medal blend again blend. That's right. Oh, that's what I forgot to do tonight. I was going to make a graphic with all the blend again in details. I will do that, guys. I will make sure I will post that with everybody's blends in there. All right, so this is a little bit savory, baking spice forward, kind of what you would expect. This is not as sweet as I would say is batch 4 or batch 5 from what I remember. This is, I think, closer to batch 6 if I remember correctly, but let's give it a try. Here we go. Another spice-driven whiskey here. Very spice-driven. It's got a lot of black pepper on it. It's got some floral components. It's almost Four Roses-esque in a way. I'm telling you, I think these K. Lukes are like poor man's. Well, it's not really poor man's. They are $115, but maybe like more of a like a Four Roses LE, but you know, it's a little bit more affordable for folks. Joe Waninger says, just pour the B8 also. My first nose thought it would pass by an Amburana barrel. Oh, the batch, yeah, Joe, it's very baking spice, cinnamon, clove heavy for sure. I could see that. I mean, this is all baking spices and like black pepper spice. And then I think on top of that, you have a little bit of like a juicy red apple. Yeah, this isn't nearly as sweet as some of the other K. Luke batches I've had. Think of it as Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, you know, C923, which everyone went crazy for, even B523, very sweet toffee, little bit of like a candy note to it, dark cherry, all those great flavors you love in a good Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And then A124 hits, and it's extremely spice-driven, and I think that's what we're getting here. I think we're getting the spice-driven types of, yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. A lot of spice, a lot of baking spices. There's a lot going on here. Let's see here. Just pour, let's see, sipping batch 6 and B8 does, sipping batch 6 and B8 does sound similar. Okay. Let's see here. Triple base, Parker's 10 rye, Michter's toasted barrel strength, JD twice barrel rye. Would definitely love to see the difference. Yeah, Liddy. Yeah, buddy. I wish I could. I did not get a Parker's Heritage Rye this year. I reviewed a sample of it, but I just couldn't get a bottle of it this year, or last year, I should say. So that's a bottle I kind of regret not picking up, unfortunately. Oh, Josh, I did hear about that. Anybody here read about the Michigan Liquor Commission can't account for almost $1 million missing bourbon? I did read about that. I actually have a couple of funny stories tonight. It's just crazy, like some of the stuff that's going on. It's pretty interesting. Let's see. Oh, man. Yeah. It's almost like a spicy apple pie. Like a very spicy apple pie with tons of cinnamon, tons of baking spice. That's really good. It's not as sweet as some of the, like I said, like a 4 or 5. I think 6 was a good call out. It might be closer to like 6 or I think it's closer to 6 than it is to like 4 or 5. So yeah. Again, with these K Luke blends, every single one is going to be a little bit different, and this one is no exception. I really like this. I love the spice. You guys know I like the spicy whiskeys. I might try to grab a bottle of that one. That one's really good. I'm digging that one. But I like the spice. I always say that, guys. Some people like it sweeter and easier. I like a little bit of spice to kind of balance it. All right, we're gonna go to Toasted. Toasted always scares me a little bit. Let's see. That Parker's rye tasted like fermented cashew cheese. No thanks, says Eric Farrar. Really? Damn, dude. I'm amazed by palates, right? Aren't you guys amazed by palates, how different people's palates are and what they taste? It's incredible. It really is. I would have never thought that. Now, I've had whiskeys. What is it? Nancy Fraley has kind of blew my mind one time when she was on the channel. We were trying one of her cigar blends, and she's like, "Don't you taste don't you taste like blue cheese or like gorgonzola?" And I was like, "Well, now I do." Holy crap! Like, it would have never registered until she said it. Sometimes you get some of those suggested probabilities when people kind of tell you things, and that's why, at least me, I know a lot of other reviewers out there that might be watching. They don't like listening to other reviews until they review it, because they don't want the power of suggestion to kind of sway their their opinion of it. And I totally get that. But then at the same time, after the fact, I kind of go back, then I'll kind of smell whiskey or taste the whiskey after it's been out for a little while. But man, and normally I don't find anything else too surprising, but man, when somebody says this whiskey smells like gorgonzola or blue cheese, yeah, you kind of are like, wait, what? And then it just kind of hits you. It's crazy. Yeah, cashew cheese. Yeah, that was crazy. Pretty sure fermented cashew cheese was not in my tasting kit. Yeah, I don't think that's on the wheel. I don't think it's on the Woodford Reserve wheel by any means. So, all right, K Luke. So here is the K Luke Toasted Barrel Bourbon, 118.2 proof. This is batch number 2. So also, I think $115 for everybody. Everyone's life experiences create their palates, and everyone is different because your brain trying to put the flavor. Yeah, absolutely, Whiskey Tube. I say that all the time. I always thank my my wonderful grandmother for kind of building my palate up. All the amazing things she used to cook, all the sweets and all the crazy. Like one time I said I smelled poached pears in a whiskey. And I got like comments like, when the hell did you ever poach a pear? And I was like, yeah, growing up, poached pears, it's a thing. Pears and cinnamon and syrup, it's delicious. So again, past experiences may sound outlandish to some people, but like to other people who experience it, they know exactly what you're talking about. So that's why whiskey tasting and building up palates is extremely personal. I always tell everybody, if you're going to, or if you want your palate to be better, if you feel like you want to build it up, really try to taste what's in your food, experience your food, try to figure out like what you're tasting, get a tasting kit, smell cinnamon, taste cinnamon, do all the things you need to do to kind of, enhance your palate and get used to those sensory experiences, because it will transition into tasting new bourbons and whiskeys. So there you go. Tip of the day. You guys probably knew most of that, but I'm just saying, for anybody new watching, it's a great way to do it. Another cool example that I learned from, I believe it was Elizabeth McCall from Woodford Reserve, one of my first interviews that I ever did on the Mash and Drum. One of my first like distiller at the time. She was the assistant distiller. Now she's the full-on master distiller. She told me she's like, a good way to kind of get used to your or kind of enhance your palate, at least to different whiskeys, because some people don't like trying different types of food. They're very picky. So another way to do it is to drink the same brand of whiskey for like 2 or 3 weeks straight. Like drink nothing but Heaven Hill, drink nothing but Wild Turkey for 2 to 3 weeks. Nose it, taste it, experience it, write down your notes, taste everything you can within that one brand. And then after, 2 or 3 weeks, that set amount of time, now switch to something else, Jim Beam, Buffalo Trace, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden your palate is almost shocked because it's gotten so used to one brand that now, anybody that says, oh, bourbons taste the same, it's bullshit. That's not true at all. It's all different. And when you taste it in that way, when you break it up like that, it's incredible what you taste and the differences. That's actually what I did. Just growing up with my grandmother and being and tasting all that food definitely helped. But when it came to, training my palate before I started doing videos and reviews, that's what I did. And it definitely helped a lot. But that was a lot easier back then because there wasn't nearly as many brands as there are now. So there you go. James E. Pepper Barrel Proof or Peerless Small Batch. Go James E. Pepper. Dan Card. Yep. Dan Catron. Yep. James E. Pepper. Bourbon Engineer in the house. We have 400 people now in the chat. What is up, everybody? All right, so this definitely smells sweeter when we're talking about the Peerless here. We're going to get into some news stories here while I taste through this, guys. It is time for the weekly whiskey news. So let's get into the first one. Big news coming out of Scotland, guys. It is Port Ellen. You guys know what Port Ellen is? You guys know who Port Ellen is? Port Ellen has opened the doors yet again. This is a new, well, I'm not going to say a new distillery, but it's an Islay distillery. After over 4 decades of slumber, the iconic Port Ellen Scotch whiskey distillery has awakened or awoken. Is it awaken or awoken? Diageo announced on Tuesday that Port Ellen, a sleeping ghost distillery that has laid dormant for over 40 years, has finally reopened to the public. The distillery's resurrection marks the final capstone of a $235.5 million project involving Scotch whiskey distillery experiences. The brand hired Ali McDonald as master distiller at Port Ellen. McDonald held position at Kilholman, Kalila, and Lagavulin. So he actually said it's an honor to take up this new position at the helm of an iconic distillery and build on Port Ellen's pioneering past, McDonald said in a news release. Let's see. Port Ellen holds a very special place in the hearts of passionate whiskey aficionados, and to see spirit flow off these stills once again is an incredible moment for the Islay community and wider whiskey world. Port Ellen was established on Islay's south coast in 1825, according to Diageo, and was known for its distinctively smoky flavor profile. The distillery was then mothballed in 1983, and sadly, during its closure, was beginning to find incredible global acclaim. Fast forward until now, it has awoken. And let's see, in February, Port Ellen announced the release of a 2 whiskey release called Gemini to celebrate the distillery's return. Those whiskeys are now available for purchase. Port Ellen released a series of digital artwork titled Out of the Ether, using high-performance liquid chromatography and gas chromatography to analyze the chemical composition of the whiskeys. Man, this is getting crazy. Let's see, and more stuff to come. So, if you guys have not ever heard of Port Ellen is one of those whiskeys where I've only tried it a couple times. It's a very rare whiskey, and as whiskey was getting super popular the last several years, Port Ellen just kept coming to the forefront. It was popping up in whiskey auctions. I heard Aquavite Roy talking about it, ever so poetically, how great it was. So the fact that it's coming back now, who's to say if it's going to be as good as it was? I don't think that really matters to everyone after, a whiskey's been shut down for over 40 years. The fact that it's back, another Islay distillery, again, probably it's going to be on the smoky side and a peated Islay whiskey, which it sounds like it's going to be. Who knows? Sky's the limit. But Port Ellen back on the map. You guys excited for that one? Michael McDonald, the funky apple's magnificent. It's like a cider mill in a rick house. I smell turkey funk, and it's baffling. Yeah, I told you, Michael. Diageo, chill filtering and coloring all their whiskeys. Oh, the toasted. I just realized I took a sip of the toasted K-Luke. Holy graham crackers. I don't think I'm getting marshmallow, but I got a ton of graham cracker here. All right, well, we'll get back into that in a little bit. Let's go to the next news story, guys, and it's a big one. We are talking about, oh my God, this one. Everyone's losing their mind because Jack Daniel's 14-year label popped up on the TTB, and everybody went nuts. So the Jack Daniel's 14-year-old Tennessee whiskey at barrel proof is in the works. Here is what we know. It will, let's see, Jack Daniel's 12-year, it will pass. Jack Daniel's 12 year is the oldest JD expression in modern times. Jack Daniel's 12-year was released in 2022, and I know we had a batch 2 this year. It's supposed to be bottled at barrel proof. Now, the label right now says 125 proof. We don't know if that's going to be the final proof, but if it is, that would be pretty damn incredible considering that the 12-year is 107 proof. It's distilled and bottled by Jack Daniel's. Of course, it's going to be a limited release. No producers have enough barrels of whiskey as old as 14 years to offer it as a regular available product. It just takes too long for it to age. And, you know, who knows how much angel share is coming out of those barrels. And it would also be sold in 700 millimeter bottles, not, you know, the usual 750. But Jack has switched to 700 milliliter bottles for a little while now, so nothing really new here. But everyone just going nuts for this expression for good reason. And if it does stay at that proof, I mean, it could be a really incredible whiskey. It's going to be one of those whiskeys that's going to be, you know, one everyone's going to be trying to get their hands on this year. We don't have any, you know, MSRP yet. Now, considering Jack Daniel's is really, really, really good at making stuff affordable, the 12-year was just under $100, even though that's SRP, obviously. Stores don't mark it up. Stores don't usually price it that way. They like to charge up for it, mark it up, whatever, you know, it may be. I've seen Jack Daniel's 12-year up to almost $300 in some places, which is just insane. So God knows what's going to happen with the 14-year. But as far as SRP for it, I wouldn't be surprised if that bottle is sub 150, just based on what Jack Daniel's has brought to us in recent times. So we'll see. Won't see it. Think the Jack 14 will be a single barrel or a batch. I'm thinking it will be a single barrel, so we'll see. Yes, we kind of dove into this last week. Coy Hill will be released again this year. Ryan Cecil, we just reviewed the JD12, thought it was strange. Yeah, Ryan, I would kind of agree with you. I wasn't as much as a fan as the 12-year this year as I was last year. I think last year the 12 had this really nice, rich butterscotchy note, which you guys know I love. This year, I don't know, it was missing something to me. So maybe strange is the right word, Ryan. Of course, Ryan is chiming in because he wants to know what I think about this bottle. We'll see. I'll be nice. Norman Conklin says, what is toasted? So what is toasted? So a toasted barrel is just a different way of finishing. If you've heard of double oaked, basically what it means is you have a barrel full of whiskey, and then what you're doing is you're throwing it into another barrel of whiskey that has a specific char level. Some of it has another char level, which is normally double oaked, but then sometimes the wood on the inside, instead of being charred with a flame, they put kind of a, I don't know, think of like the inside of a bread toaster. You know those wires that have like the infrared heat almost. They put that right in the middle of the barrel and they just toast the outside layers of the barrel. They don't char it, and it really kind of brings out these really, really sweet flavors. And then they'll take that toaster tool out. They'll fill the barrel with the original whiskey, and they'll leave it in there for whatever time they see fit. And then it gives it essentially a toast profile. So that's what toasted bourbon is. There you go. Toasted is me after 420. I'm not toasted by noon. I'm having a shitty day. Yeah, it's great to see Ryan Cecil from Pursuit United and from Bourbon Pursuit in the chat. Nice to see you as always, man. All right, let's go to the next one, and let's go to Penelope Rio is back. Penelope Rio is sorry, guys, if I lost you there for a second. Penelope is making its debut, or I'm not going to say its debut, but it's re-releasing. And it looks like, let's see here. It looks like it's available or starting to become available now. Did I miss where that was? Let me see here. Oh, there it was. Yeah, Penelope Rio, a party in a bottle. Penelope announces return of Rio, a bourbon finished in honey and amburana casks. On Monday, Penelope Bourbon announced the return of Penelope Rio, a limited edition bourbon finish in American honey and amburana cask. Penelope describes Rio as inspired by the joy of Brazil. Our latest Rio release is a party in the bottle. The finish complements each other so well, resulting in a fun and surprising mix of flavors, says Penelope co-founder Michael Palladini. Distilled from a mash bill of 74% corn, 16% wheat, 7% rye, and 3% malted barley. It's bottled at 98 proof and will be available at suggested retail price of $90. And this is a 750 milliliter bottle. The 2024 release will have an allocation of 5,000 cases. So there you go. Let me turn that off. So Penelope Rio, for me, you guys know how I feel about amburana. Yeah, not a fan. However, I will say this about the Rio. The Rio, to me, at least batch one was, I thought I had one right here, was way more honey flavored to me than it was amburana. And I like that. I like the fact that it was a little bit more honey forward rather than that crazy, like artificial cinnamon note that you get on a lot of other amburana whiskeys, or amburana finished whiskeys, I should say. So good to see Rio back. It was so popular last year. It was being upcharged for a good amount. I saw it upwards of $250, $300 being flipped on secondary. People were going crazy for that Rio bottle. I think because of the whole amburana thing. So let's see here. I hear the Rio dances in the sun. I got that, man. That's a nice Duran Duran callback. I see you. There we go. Okay. What's next here? Oh, here's the bottom label of the Jack Daniel's 14 I wanted to show you guys. As you can see, 125 proof, batch one. That's what it says on the label now. Now, again, you know, that proof isn't confirmed. Sometimes those are just for position only. But the fact that it's locked in at 125, if that's the case, that's pretty exciting. So I'm excited about it. All right, guys, you ready for a fun story here? This is just ridiculous. Kentucky man. I'm gonna show you the graphic, and this is all you need to know. That's right. I'm putting up for those of you listening. I just put up a picture of Fireball. That's right. Fireball cinnamon whiskey is on the screen right now. And the story goes: a Kentucky man arrested after drinking Fireball and proceeding to steal and wreck a school bus. That's right. Lex 18 reported Wednesday that a 26-year-old man was arrested after he admitted to stealing a school bus and driving it into a ditch while under the influence of Fireball cinnamon whiskey in London, Kentucky. That's right. Benjamin Driscoll was identified after crashing the vehicle and apprehended by the London authorities. According to ABC6, an officer claimed he saw a young man dressed head to toe in black crawl out of the wreckage and flee the scene of the incident. He admitted to police he drank Fireball cinnamon whiskey before stealing a school bus from South Laurel High School, and he failed the sobriety test. He was sent to the Laurel County Detention Center, and upon further investigation, authorities discovered he had an outstanding warrant in Indiana. Oh, my God. Oh my God. All right. So yeah. So if you're, I mean, I can't even, if you're the cop, you probably just said this to him.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
just took his ass to jail. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Okay, yeah, couldn't wait. Leave Florida alone. Sounds like a Florida man, says Eric Snyder. Todd Ritter says that's how we roll in my state. Sounds like the average Fireball drinker. Like, are you kidding me, guys? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, when I heard that, I lost my shit. I was dying laughing. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go into the next segment real quick, guys. This is What Did I See on the TTB? All right, guys. First bottle that popped up on the TTB that kind of, made me get a little bit interested here was this one right here. We talked about Heaven's Door tonight a little bit in the beginning of the show, but it looks like they're coming out with another Decade series. We sipped the first Decade series, which is, I think that was number 1. This is number 3, and it's going to be the 10-year double barrel whiskey. We don't know too much more info, but it looks like, if you guys can see the bottom of the screen, you see the blend there. We have a bourbon from Tennessee, we have a rye from Indiana, and then a rye from, what does that say? What is that? A rye from CN? Is that a CN or an O? I have no idea what that is. Is that an ON? Is that Ontario? Is that Canadian whiskey, which it might be? But it looks like we have a bourbon from, so bourbon from Tennessee, 12% of the blend. Another bourbon from Tennessee, 83% of the blend. A rye from Indiana, looks like 2% of the blend. And then we have that, I think, an Ontario rye for only 3% of the blend. So kind of a rye, which is kind of cool. And let's see here. Cincinnati rye, Canada? Yeah, I think it's Canada. All right, so the next Woodford Reserve Masters Collection has also popped up on the TTB, and this is what it is, guys. Masters Collection Woodford Reserve whiskeys finished in Madeira casks, blended with wheat whiskey. That's a long title for a Masters Collection, but this is going to be the edition number 20, 700 milliliter bottle. Again, the beautiful proof of 90.4. But this is going to be the next Masters Collection bottle from Woodford Reserve, guys. Whiskeys finished in Madeira casks, blended with wheat whiskey. Yeah, I'm out on that. No. As much as I love Madeira finished whiskeys, I am working on a video right now of like bourbons and whiskeys. I'm just not buying again. And unfortunately, Woodford Reserve, most of the Masters collections are on that list just because, I don't know, they usually charge you $140, $150 for it. You don't have an age of it. You don't really know where it's coming from. And then on top of that, turn that off. Sorry, guys. And then on top of that, it's 90.4 proof. So, yeah, I'm just not. Anybody in on that one? Yeah, no. A bottle no one asked for. Sounds like perfume. I enjoyed the Thomas S. Moore, says Sean Holtgrave. If it was $80, I'd be on that, says Eric Farrar. Too much of this finished garbage. I blame Fred Minnick. Space Coast blames Fred Minnick for all the finished stuff. Okay. All right. Looks like we have, speaking of finished stuff, the next Old Forester 117 series. It looks like we're going to get a rum finish from Old Forester. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in rum cask. Historically, commercial trade on the Ohio River brought a variety of cask-aged spirits to the wharf behind Old Forester on Whiskey Row. So looks like we're going to get a rum finished 117 series from Old Forester. Now, you could probably be pretty sure that, let's see here, Brown-Forman rums. You could be pretty sure, just like what Appleton Estate did with Wild Turkey, because that rum was owned by Campari, and because Appleton rum was used with the, for the what was it called, the Voyage, for the latest Master's Keep from last year. I think that's where you see it. As far as, let's see tequila rum. So I would assume that Diplomatico is going to be used in order to create that 117 series. Diplomatico is owned by Brown-Forman, so if you guys are kind of rum heads, Diplomatico is owned by Brown-Forman, and that's probably the rum they're using to finish it. So just a little fun tidbit right there. So let's see. I have the historic barrel entry, and I can say for the price, it's my most disappointing bottle to date. That's funny you say that, Tom, because I think the historic barrel entry. Oh, wait, was it that one? Was it? No, it wasn't that one. What's the one that I really liked? The I forgot the name of the last Masters collection that I really enjoyed. Somebody will know it in the chat. It was one of the really, oh man, what the hell is the name of it? It wasn't the historic barrel entry proof. It definitely wasn't that one. Oh my god, I missed the super chat. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is it down below? Oh, it's right here. Jeff Winbush with the first super chat of the night. Are they going to blend Basil Hayden's with Kool-Aid? Yeah, I think, dude, there's no, Oh, the very fine and rare. That's the one, Kenneth. Thank you so much. The very fine and rare was probably the last great Woodford Reserve Masters Collection bottle I really loved. Besides the batch proofs. The batch proofs are always pretty good. I still don't think they're worth the money, but people seem to love them. But Jeff Winbush, yeah, who knows what finishes we could see, what that trend is going to be for 2024. I still don't think a trend has really been established in 2024 yet. We're still seeing toastage. We're still seeing double oaks. We're still seeing more of the Amburana. I thought maybe it could be Tokai. I thought maybe some more beer finishes, maybe some more wine finishes. I honestly think really the trend, what it looks like it's going to be, is a combination of different finishes that people are trying. So we just talked about the Rio with the honey and the Amburana. I think more people are apt to try that type of a finish more than anything. Now, if you go to Foregate, even though Foregate is a $200 bottle, Foregate's been doing that since their inception. They've been playing with different barrel finishes, double barrel finishes, sherry, rum, Madeira, Madeira and port, whatever it may be. So they were kind of ahead, I think, of the game from that. And then, of course, you have people like Good Times that are blending watermelon and vanilla and strawberry and blueberry and snozberry and every other berry they could think of. So there you go. There is no bottom in this blending thing. There's certainly, yeah, it's called Good Times. Exactly. No, the cherrywood one I did not like. All right, let's real quick. The last few here, guys. Town Branch looks like they're bringing out an overproof 4-barrel Kentucky straight whiskey, but it says 104 proof. I'm not really sure how that's overproof. Maybe to Town Branch that's overproof. It looks like the Town Branch should be coming out with a 4-barrel blend of overproof whiskey at 104 proof. This really actually got me excited here, guys. Old New Riff. Man, I love when New Riff does stuff like this. Old New Riff. It looks like a new label coming to New Riff whiskey, bottled and bond without chill filtration. This is their bourbon, and then if you look at the back of it, the Old New Riff Whiskey Project seeks to recover lost histories and recipes for the modern era. Our whiskey makers examined every facet of the production process and tweaked all the dials back to the Gilded Age when Greater Cincinnati ruled the whiskey market. Now, if you look at the mash bill down below, 60% heirloom corn, 26% Balboa rye, and 14% two-row malted barley. So this is just basically taking every heirloom grain that they could find and creating a whole new whiskey with it. That Balboa rye is absolutely delicious. They're going to use some heirloom corn and some 14% two-row malted barley. I'm really looking to trying that. And if that doesn't excite you enough, they're also doing it with a rye whiskey, an Old New Riff Kentucky straight rye whiskey. And if you look at the mash bill on the back, 65% of the Balboa rye, 20% of the heirloom corn, and 15% of two-row malted barley. So same components that they use in the bourbon, just reversing it out a little bit, changing the percentages up, and I'm all in on those, guys. That's where I get excited for some different whiskeys right there. I am all over that. That sounds fantastic. Absolutely. I think Chad and Sarah on its bourbon night try this on their bottle and bond night, says Eric. I don't think it hasn't come out yet, Eric, so I don't think they did. Matt is holding out for the newer extra, very old new riff. Yeah. I want the old Rocky Balboa rye, like Rocky 6 Balboa rye, like like he can't talk at all. That's the rye I'm looking for. All right, guys. Let me finish the toasted here. We'll break into these 2 bottles, and then we'll get into our epic blind tasting tonight. Man, toasted barrels. It's not that I don't like it. It's good. I don't love it, but I like it. It doesn't give me that weird bitterness that I usually get on. I feel like it's just me though. Like toasted barrels just gives me a weird vibe on them sometimes. This one, I'm not really getting the marshmallow as much as I'm getting the graham cracker note, which I do like a lot. But it almost has this floral quality on the back end that I'm getting. There's a floral, like perfumey thing. I'm not really sure where that's coming from. But yeah, that kind of, I don't know. And I do get that in a lot of toasted products. I don't know what it is. It's just probably just my palate. My palate's broken when it comes to toasted stuff. I don't understand. I don't get it. Unless it's like a super rich, like dark, like old toasted whiskey. I can't get into it. Nothing against this K-Luke. I think a lot of people will enjoy this one, but for me, I'm all about this this batch 8. This thing is friggin' delicious. The batch 8 bourbon is really good stuff. So I'm all in on that one. Toasted, man, not so much. But again, don't go after me. It's just it's a toasted thing that I have to deal with. Their malted rye was a huge disappointment, says Alan Pulowski. Oh, from New Riff, you weren't a fan of that one? Okay. Can't be worse for the money than Daniel Weller. Oh, dude. So I got to try Daniel Weller finally. I don't know if I told you guys this. I got to try Daniel Weller at a bar in Dayton, Ohio, over at Century Bar. So Joe Head over there was kind enough to let me try it. I actually filmed it, but the video was so dark you couldn't even see us. So I didn't really get a chance to use the video, unfortunately. But did get to try it. I remember how fruit forward it was. It was it was extremely strawberry forward to me. Very wheat heavy. Again, that wheatiness was there. It was almost had a cereal type quality to it. But extremely fruit forward. I didn't really get any of those floral notes that you normally get from wheated whiskeys, but man, it was it was okay. I wouldn't pay nowhere near for what they were commanding for that bottle. Yeah, the compass on the cork is nice, and all the other stuff is nice, but yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that. All right, guys. So let's get into the Pursuit United. Ryan Cecil, where you at? You ready for this? So, all right. So, a little details about the Pursuit United Double Oak, guys. So, this limited release bourbon has undergone a unique secondary oak finishing process to develop a rich, nostalgic flavor reminiscent of historic bourbon styles with a 108 proof kick. Working in partnership with Inner Stave, Pursuit United created a bourbon that pays homage to the bottles that collected dust for years with distinct notes of butterscotch and creamy caramel. If this is true, I should love this. So I hope these notes are not lying to me right now. As longtime fans of vintage whiskey, we wanted to craft something truly special that gave a nod to the best bottles we've been lucky enough to try over the years, said Ryan Cecil, master blender and co-founder of Pursuit Spirits. This double oak release encapsulates part of that nostalgic flavor profile, but in a modern premium bourbon experience. Lengthy secondary finish using custom 36-month seasoned French oak medium toasted staves. This extra maturation extracts bold oak notes while imparting a deep, velvety mouthfeel. Ooh, mouthfeel. It's a velvety mouthfeel. Okay. Let me pop this here. You guys can take a look at this bottle. I showed it earlier. It's got a lot of white on it. There you go. Let me move that up a little bit. There it is. You guys see it? Double oak bourbon. There you go. All right, and we're back. Let's see. Tiller's bourbon. So it's 108 proof. 108 proof of. Let's see. My mistake. Chad and Sarah tried the Silver Grove, but they talked about the old newer. Oh, there you go, Eric. Chat GPT is great. So you didn't really write that, Ryan. Yeah, I pegged that. Hey, all, cheers. Let's see. It says Daryl Pester. Wild Turkey Generations worth $420. CNF worth $350. As much as the Generations turned my mind around, the more it opened up, it got really, really stupid good. I still think it's, too much money. Since the Camp Nelson at retail is $300, I'd be more apt to pay $350 for it over the Generations. The Camp Nelson CNF was my bourbon of the year last year. So had a chance to try William Heaven Hill 17 last night, and it was delicious. Did they release that to liquor stores? Is that distillery only? Says Bill Miller. It does make it out to some stores in and around Kentucky. I don't think it goes beyond that, though. I don't think it goes beyond Kentucky. All right. Here we go, guys. Based on paper, based on those descriptions, I should love this whiskey. So let's see. Oh, yeah. It's buttery, all right. That is some buttery shit. Jason, is your Peerless Toasted signed by Corky? It is, Wayne. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. It's pretty funny the way he signed it, too. Oh, my God. This is all butterscotch. That's all it is. It's almost got like a... What is that? Holy hell. That is super, super butterscotchy. It almost has like this butter rum component to it that it does call back to like dusty bourbon notes without kind of the dusty funk that you get sometimes in dusty bourbon. Oh my God. Yeah, this is fat kid whiskey for sure. Damn thrice. That's mean to say fat kid. Let's just say chunky kid. Chunky, big boned child that likes to eat sweets. This is like straight up Werther's Original Candy in a glass. It smells. Oh, that's what it is. Guys, this is it. Cake batter. It smells like straight up vanilla cake batter. Holy shit. That's what I got from it. It is straight up cake batter. I think cake batter has butter in it. So yeah, that makes sense. Oh my, it's cake. This is cake. Cake in a glass. All right, hopefully it tastes as good. Here we go. Oh, it does. Oh, it does. The butterscotch and the caramel is more on the palate than the nose. The nose is straight up cake batter to me. But the palate, that's a throwback, dude. Ryan and Kenny. That is a throwback whiskey right there. Jason, how is your hat that color? Can't be natural. Definitely artificial gray, says Dylan S. Yeah, for those of you listening, on the podcast, maybe I'm wearing a 13 Colony hat, a hat that I bought when I went to go do a barrel pick there. So that's just kind of hilarious. Yeah, it's definitely fake gray. It's not real gray. It's artificial gray. It was added, and they used gray coloring. They added some, fake flavoring to it. If you taste the gray hat, it actually tastes like, it tastes like a cloudy day. It's all artificial. I know the camera's over here, but I'm going to look over here still. That's the beauty of the two cameras. You want me to look over here too? Looking at you. We're going back. Okay. Dude, this is delicious. Is it the most complex bourbon that I've tried? No. But the flavors that it has, this is old school, throwback, butterscotch cake batter without the dusty funk to it. It's sweet. It's got a nice little bit of a spice in the back end. But that is, if you guys like butterscotch and just straight up cake batter, again, yeah, this is a fat kid's whiskey. Chubby, sorry, big boned. Husky? Is Husky still used? Yeah. That is delicious, dude. I'm gonna fly through this bottle. I'm sad I only got one. Damn. Thank you, Todd Ritter. Appreciate the assist on that one. Jason, I was in line with the guy who picked up your Peerless bottle. Cool dude. Oh, wait, no. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was Michael McDonald. This bottle is what the witch that lives in the woods is going to use to lure me in. I'm screwed. That's so good. Dude. It is. It's a throwback whiskey in a lot of ways. You don't really get whiskeys like this too much anymore. I think the closest thing I've had to this is a couple of Still Austin barrel picks that had this really, really heavy butterscotch note on it. I haven't really come across anything like that until now. So this is incredible. Ryan and Kenny, outstanding job with this. I don't know if this is, I don't even know. Is this a whiskey profile that everyone would be interested in? I feel like they would be, because I feel like bourbon doesn't really taste a lot like this anymore. Yeah, you get butterscotch, you get some notes like that in some whiskeys and some bourbons today, but this is so in your face with just some really good throwback flavors. That's really delicious, man. Dude, I'm all over this shit. That might be that could make like a top 10 this year for me personally, just because it's that butterscotchy. That's good shit. All right. Yeah, Barrel King. Barrel King actually I've had a few Barrel Kings that have had a nice butterscotch flavor too. So, yep. Speaking of Barrel King, our buddy Matt, ADHD Whiskey, his blend is releasing soon. The first blend he's done with Barrel King. Dude, congratulations. I cannot wait to taste it. But, everybody knows if you did it, if you blended it, Matt, it's going to be friggin' fantastic. So I cannot wait to taste that bottle. Congratulations to you, Matt. Everything that's going on for you right now, dude. I'm so happy for you, man. And this shit is delicious. So, all right. Justin Jenkins, any charred or heavier barrel notes? No, Justin, not really. It's even though it's double oaked, I feel like whatever Ryan and Kenny did with that custom barrel that they created, it didn't really impart a lot of the extra age dark notes. So don't think of this bourbon as a double oaked thing that you would get from like Woodford or even the Peerless double oaked or whatever double oak product that you've had. There's a lot of double oaked, even a lot of the NDPs. The non-distilling producers are double oaking the shit out of everything just to impart some of that extra flavor into it, because the whiskey they're sourcing is maybe 5-6 years old. So they're throwing it in another barrel to enhance some flavors. This, however, is just different. It's imparting a lot of butterscotch. And I think that toasted cask that they used, whatever custom barrel that they used to get that profile, that is incredible. So, yep. Price on the Pursuit. Let's see. I think it was $69.99. Dude, that's an amazing price point for that, honestly. But man, you gotta like butterscotch and cake batter. But who doesn't? If somebody doesn't like butterscotch and cake batter, you could leave now. That's delicious. All right. Last bottle before we get to our blind tasting with our 1915 tonight. Toasted Peerless Bourbon. So Michael McDonald in the chat, he actually was kind enough to grab me a bottle. Duell says, great, how can I get it? You're going to have to ask Ryan. It's sold out on Sealbox, and it's sold out at the distillery. I don't know if they're releasing any more of it, but Ryan, you're going to have you're gonna have a you know, you're gonna have a ramped up crowd on your hands if you don't release more of that shit. I'm just saying, and I'm gonna be in there too. So, all right, Peerless Bourbon here, guys. This is their first toasted product, Toasted Peerless, and yes, it is signed. So if you guys see that, it says the mash and drummed. Is that a D? The mash and drummed. I don't even know how he signed it, but yes, it was signed by Corky Taylor. There you go, over from at Peerless. So it was really kind of him to kind of write a little message there. Love it, and gotta say thanks to Michael McDonald there for for getting that signed for me. So all right, let's get into this one now. Ryan Cecil says, we have more at the distillery? What? Ryan, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'll see you there. Ryan Cecil says, we will have some on steel box soon. All right, guys. So if you guys want that double oaked and you like butterscotch and cake batter, keep an eye on steel box. Or if you're in town in Kentucky at Louisville, go to the Experience Center, Pursuit Spirits, and grab yourself a bottle. Sven Dryden. See, too bad Sealbox doesn't ship to Michigan. Dude, send it to another buddy's house and have him ship it to you. You know, what are you going to do? Is that, Dunny says, is that one of our single barrels 3 years later it got toasted? Yeah, no, Dunny, it's not. Okay, let's get into this one. Now, this was let's see here. Okay, so this is a blend of 12 barrels. This is a 12-barrel blend, and apparently it sold out that same day that it released. I do believe I got some literature about this one too. Little literature. Yeah, where's did ADHD channel? Oh, there he goes. Hope everyone likes it. Yeah, dude, everyone's gonna like it, dude. People are gonna like it. All right, the very first Peerless whiskey went into a barrel, and that's the story there. Peerless Toasted Bourbon is aged in 2 separate oak barrels. It is initially aged in their standard char level 3. Okay, the already barrel-aged whiskey is then placed in a toasted barrel to finish. The toasted barrel adds more complexity with honey, vanilla. Oh no, I don't want to read that. Okay, and then okay, some tasting notes here, and there we go. Okay, all set. Proof on this one, guys, 111.1. So just a tick above the Pursuit United double oaked. This is batch 1 of their first toasted one. Now, again, guys, you know me with toasted. Just bear with me here. But let's see how it is. Man, this one's kind of weird. This one's kind of floral too, like the other one was. What is happening? What is happening? Sure, it's toasted, but it doesn't even matter if it's not Amburana. Yeah, please. Ship it to me. I'll have a small sample and send it on. Okay. Yeah, it's floral. It's sweet. Oh, man. Definitely get the honey, I think. Definitely get that toasted barrel char note a little bit. I feel like I get the marshmallow a little bit more in here than I did with the K-Luke. All right, let's give this one a try, guys. Cheers. Oh, okay. That's nice. That actually, wow, it really is very honey forward. That is not what I expected. This doesn't have any of those usual toasted off notes that kind of turn me off on toasted bourbons. This is different. Let me go back in here. This is good. Oh, there's the marshmallow on the very end. It actually comes in with a lot of dark fruit for a toasted bourbon. And then as it works its way back, that's when you get the marshmallow and kind of, I'm not even going to say graham cracker. I just get a lot of sweet, like marshmallowy, sugary types of wood notes there. That's good. Wow. Peerless toasted, changing my mind on toasted bourbons. Now, most folks that I talk to who love toasted bourbons kind of generally like the ones I don't like. So does that mean you'll like this one? I don't even know what advice to give you because it's just different than what I normally like. So, or what I normally don't like about toasted bourbons. This doesn't really have a lot of that. It's very velvety on the palate. This has, man, this is one of the best toasted products I've had in a long time. This is really nice. Is it $120 good? That's a good question, Kenneth. I don't know. Peerless has always been kind of pricey. I'll say this. If you love toasted bourbons, I think it's worth it. It's really good. It's really good. Most toasted bourbon, I mean, I just said, okay, Luke, you probably skip that one. Get the barrel proof batch 8 instead. Most toasted bourbons, I'll probably tell you to skip, but this one's nice. This doesn't have those artificial aspartame, weird, bitter, like just weird, I don't know, the drying notes I get on the back end sometimes from toasted products. And it's so weird that I get that. And that floral note, I was getting on the nose, but it's not really hitting me on the palate here. And the more I sip it, the more fruit forward it's getting too. Let me see what the I do want to kind of look at the. I do and I don't want to look at the tasting notes here. Let's see what it says. Sweet florals, including geranium and lavender, invigorate the senses. I love reading this marketing shit, guys. I'm going to read this as Kermit the Frog. You guys ready for this one? I'm going to read the toasted bourbon tasting notes from Peerless as Kermit the Frog. Here we go. Let's get ready. Notes of peanut brittle and sweet florals, including geranium and lavender, invigorate the senses. That's right. There you go. Dark fruits cascade across the nose. The palate begins with toffee and fresh herbs of basil and lemon balm. Hey, Piggy, the taste builds with the introduction of cocoa powder and the natural earth tones of raw honey. Okay. All right. I'm done with that one. It's starting to turn into something else. I think I could only do Kermit for like 5 minutes and then like 5 seconds, then it turns into something else. Piggy, this smells like lavender. Yeah. Maybe that chocolate note? I'm not really sure. Kermit would say the senses. Yeah, he actually would. Lionel G, you hit the nail on the head with the description of the the chemical aftertaste. Yeah, this is I'm getting none of that. So I'll say this: $120 is expensive to pay for, a toasted bourbon from Peerless, especially being non-age stated, batch 1. But I will say this about this toasted Peerless bourbon: it is probably the best toasted bourbon I've had in a very, very long time. None of the notes that I usually dislike in a toasted bourbon are here to taste. It's much more fruit forward. That florality that it has is there a touch, but it's not overpowering the palate, and I don't get any of that weird aftertaste on the back end of this one. This is a very, very well-constructed toasted bourbon. This is how I wish toasted bourbons were all the time. This is really good. So if anybody was lucky enough to grab this one, you got yourself a hell of a toasted whiskey. So there we go. Kermit was transforming to, yeah, that's what it was, JG. The Kermit was transferring to Grover. This is near and this is far. Near and far. I felt like I was like getting into that. I was like kind of switching it up there. So how does it compare to the L7 Holiday Toast? So Sean Dent, that's actually a great question. The Lucky 7 Holiday Toast is, I think, way more spice driven, whereas the Peerless Toasted Bourbon, I think, is way more fruit driven. So I think those are the two biggest differentiators, at least is what I remember from the Lucky 7 Holiday Toast. So the Holiday Toast does have a little bit of fruit forwardness to it, but it really has like those holiday spices in it. A lot of cinnamon, a lot of clove, a lot of, those graham cracker notes, a little bit of marshmallow too. The Peerless is kind of a different animal. The dark fruit forward notes that you get, the little bit of a floral component, the honey. It said cocoa powder in there. I'm not sure if I got cocoa powder yet. This was a first pour. I feel like it's got to open up a little bit, but we'll see what happens there with it. But I got to say, tonight, as far as trying these new bottles, really happy with all of them. The only one that I would probably maybe not recommend was the K-Luke Toasted, but that's because it was giving my fear of toasted palate, fear of toasted bourbons palate, like some of those flavors I don't necessarily like. But the Batch 8 K-Luke barrel proof small batch is spicy, sweet, delicious. It's kind of, like I said, I feel like it kind of borders the line of like a Four Roses LE with all the spice, some of the sweet, a little bit more spice driven, like I said. The Pursuit United is just stupid. This thing is butterscotch and cake batter, and then it's a throwback bourbon in the best way possible, without all the weird, funky undertones that you get sometimes in a bourbon from like the 80s or the 90s. And then this Toasted Peerless, I did not have a lot of high hopes going in for this one, but it actually really surprised me. So I'm glad I grabbed this bottle. It almost reminds me of a French oak finish. I think that's why I like it. Extremely fruit forward, velvety texture. If you told me that was French oak, I might believe you. It's that fruit forward on it. And that could be just a like the underlying flavors of just the Peerless bourbon. But you throw that toast on it, and it really gives you some of those like caramelly like undertones. It's really, really good. And none of those fake aspartame flavors on the back end of that one. Hell yeah. All right, let's see. Ryan Cecil, I hope to see you tomorrow. Laugh out loud. Ryan, if I could, I would friggin' be there tomorrow. But I'm just saying, Ryan, if you can you put a bottle or two of that aside just for the Mash and Drum? Because I'm gonna need a couple more of those. Those things are stupid good. So please, Ryan, I hate to ask you to take bottles away from the fans, but I gotta have more of that shit because that butterscotch note is ridiculously good. All right. Before we get into the blind tasting with all the 1915 and see if you could take out the rest of the Whiskey Roast series, I do want to talk about a quick article that popped up on Gear Patrol, and I'm gonna share my screen here with you guys a little bit. I don't do this often. Can I do this? Let's see here. Let me do this. Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that right now. I should have done that before. Sorry, guys. I got a new computer, and I still have yet to set up some of the stuff on it. Oh, maybe I can do it now. Let's see here. Will this work? Are you guys seeing this? Oh, you are seeing this. Perfect. Okay. So, Gear Patrol put out this this article. Buffalo Trace is doubling bourbon production. What that means for Pappy, Weller, and more. But this isn't the title that I saw in my news feed. It basically said that we're going to be seeing a whole lot more Buffalo Trace here in the next couple years. Pappy Van Winkle, Blanton's, Weller 12. I don't know. So, as you guys know, February 2023, new still house, 40 feet tall, 60,000 gallons of whiskey a day. To kind of, and there's kind of the picture of the new still. I mean, building warehouses, all of this. How soon will Buffalo Trace start making twice as much whiskey? I know a lot of people are asking, but this article kind of caused a, I'm not going to say I don't know. I'm not going to say it caused like a commotion, but it did cause a lot of controversy and a lot of excitement as far as like people thinking, oh my God, we're going to see so much Buffalo Trace. I will say this, until I see it, I will believe it. I don't believe for any amount of money that Sazerac and Buffalo Trace is all of a sudden going to start making this stuff more readily available to the to the public. And the only reason why I say that is because I feel like for a long time, scarcity has been the idea and the ideology that has driven a lot of Buffalo Trace's fandom. Because you can't find it too often, because you can't get it in a lot of places. Some places are very blessed to have Eagle Rare, regular Buffalo Trace on the shelf. Even get Blanton's regularly. Here in Ohio, we get Weller all the time. But the guys that buy Weller here are normally trying to flip it, in the secondary market, unfortunately, especially those Weller 107s. They're a great trade bait, and I totally get that about it. But will it get to a point where we will start seeing Eagle Rare, Buffalo Trace, Weller, and other popular Buffalo Trace products regularly available on the shelf, in and around and all over the country? I find it hard to believe it'll get to that point. But here's the thing. I kind of do hope it happens, because I think the secondary market value on all of that stuff will calm down as soon as it becomes more readily available. But for a long time, everyone has said that Buffalo Trace has intentionally held back product to drive up demand. It's a tale as old as time. It happens in marketing. You make things more scarce, the more people want it. You guys know I love sneakers. It happens in sneakers all the time. So when you talk about whiskey, we see this too. A limited release is much different than holding back bottles to drive scarcity. And this scarcity that Sazerac and Buffalo Trace has driven up, for me to think that all this extra production is going to all of a sudden appear in the form of more whiskey for everybody on the shelf, and for them to abandon that mindset, like I said, I don't know. I think I have to see it before I believe it. I think we're still a little bit a ways from that. Remember, they didn't build that just, that long ago. I mean, if you're looking at February 2023, the new still house that opened, people are expecting to see those, the fruits of Buffalo Trace's labor on the shelf immediately. That's just not going to happen. We're going to have to wait it out here. We might have to wait another, few years before we see any of this happening. But I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you guys think that we could see a lot more Buffalo Trace? Do you think they'll still do kind of that practice where they may hold back stuff? I mean, anybody I've ever talked to from Buffalo Trace always says, "Oh, we don't hold back anything." I don't know. That's kind of hard to believe sometimes. I know in some states you see a lot of Eagle Rare, you see a lot. Blanton's, there was an article this week that Blanton's was popping up in a bunch of Costco's for like $55 or something crazy like that. If you're lucky enough to have a Costco in your area that actually sells alcohol and get some of those Blanton's for cheap, then that's fine. And that's really awesome. But that just doesn't happen in every state. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Remember the story when they were changing distributors, and that meant that we were going to see more Buffalo Trace in and around, the entire country. Did that really ever happen? I think we saw a huge influx in the beginning. We saw a huge push to maybe get rid of some of those bottles that kind of entered the market when the change of distributorship was happening. But I really haven't seen that since. last weekend here in Ohio, we saw some Eagle Rare that popped up at some of the stores, some Eagle Rare, some Wellers, some stuff like that, and those usually get bought up pretty quick. But as far as anything else, nothing is coming in enough where you see it on the shelf still. I just want to kind of say this to just like have everybody kind of calm down a little bit, because an article like that will kind of start causing and stirring a frenzy. And basically the idea is we don't know yet if that's actually what's going to happen, but just hold fast, be patient, and hopefully we do see some more Buffalo Trace down the line in the next few years. So that's all I wanted to say. Just a public service announcement before everybody freaking loses their mind. Let's see here. Can't rush the quality products I want. We had Pappy's come to our local store, Sand Club here in Bowling Green. I saw Eagle Rare everywhere in Georgia for 2 weeks, but that's like Weller is in Ohio. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, Jason. I'd like to see Blanton's and MSRP as well as Eagle Rare. Blanton's is $100 in my area. Are they expanding overseas? Well, you got to remember, Dwill, that overseas is really where a lot of the premium barrels of Blanton's go. We don't get those premium barrels of Blanton's here. We don't get the higher age ones. We get the gold and we get the barrel proof. But those like 9, 10, 11, 12-year barrels that they see in France, La Maison du Whiskey, they see in Poland, we don't get to see those. Those go overseas. Will we ever see those? I don't know if we'll ever see those again. The demand is just too high for Blanton's here, in my opinion. Everybody likes to make a whole thing over Blanton's, not realizing it's like a 4 to 5-year-old whiskey now. I don't get all the commotion, but I know people like the bottle. It's a smooth bourbon. I get it. The marketing is brilliant. It is what it is. Wow, did I just smell a lot of banana? For those of you listening, I just brought all the Old Forester glasses over to my tasting table here. Bill Mills, can legislation intervene? No, legislation can't. They have no right to interfere with the business workings and how they work unless they're invested in it. They're not going to say shit. Barrel Proof Traveler, says Gary Franchi. Can we see that? No, we're not going to see that. And for those, people giving Traveler a hard time, you got to remember, guys, certain whiskeys are made for a certain market. It's like marketing 101, man. You have a target audience for a certain whiskey. It is what it is. I'm not going to say that, it's not a great whiskey. I would never buy another bottle or drink it, but Traveler whiskey has a direct, a very direct target market for it. And that's most likely not us. It's for a more casual drinker, maybe country music fans. It's just so, I see the same thing with Basil Hayden with Blanton's. It's like the same group of people I always see going after those same bottles of whiskey because they're easy to drink. It's low proof, but they kind of like the sweetness of it. I've kind of gotten over the fact of, I'm not going to say I've gotten over it. I haven't seen someone throw a tantrum over Blanton's in a long time. So I guess we're progressing as humans, I guess. When I saw that a bunch of years ago when I made that video, I could not believe what I was witnessing. But now I really haven't seen that much. I've just seen people just asking for Blanton's. If they don't, they go on to the next thing. But yeah, I think Traveler's made right for that type of market. Something very easy to sip. I feel like we'll see it a lot this summer at concerts, country concerts. We'll see what happens. Fireball drinkers. Yeah, Fireball drinkers stealing buses. That's what the world has come to. Don't worry about Traveler. We got to worry about the freaking cinnamon whiskey Fireball drinkers. Those are the ones causing all the havoc. Wreaking all the havoc. Jesus Christmas. Stealing buses, driving them into dishes. Oh, guys, before I forget, last week you guys said the question of the week was to name my favorite my top 5 favorite TV shows, and I forgot one of them. I think I had mentioned Parks and Rec. I had mentioned The Office. I had mentioned Friends. I had mentioned, I don't know what the other one was, but there was a show that I grew up watching that I totally forgot about. That could be like my number 2 or number 1, and that was Perfect Strangers. Does anybody remember that show, Perfect Strangers, with Larry and Balky Bartakamus? You guys remember that show? That show I loved growing up. And man, if I could go back and watch every episode of that, I would. It was a cheesy, yes, but that show made me laugh. Yeah, that was... I would have to insert that in my top 5 somewhere. So any of you guys listening right now, if you're listening on the podcast, the question was thrown to me: name your top 5, like your top 5 favorite, sitcoms of all time. So yeah, I had Office, Parks and Rec. I had Friends. Seinfeld kind of almost made it. I can't remember what that next one was. Yeah, look at you guys. Cousin Larry, Balky. I love it. You guys are amazing. That show was funny. Balky was great in True Romance. Balky was also awesome in oh crap, what was the Beverly Hills Cop? Remember him in the Beverly Hills Cop series with Eddie Murphy? Yep. Larry Appleton. Yep. The Bibi Bopka song. Sven, you are my spirit. You're my spirit animal right now. Dude, the Bibi Bopka song is the episode I always go and try to watch. Oh my gosh. Was this the show with the straight man guy who would start the show by picking up a cigar with his umbrella? No, that wasn't it, Kyle. Oh, Alf. Alf rules. Yeah, Alf. I know a lot of people were saying Wonder Years was a great one. Yeah, and I totally forgot about Wonder Years. That would probably be my top 5 too. That show changed everything for me, man. I love that show. Winnie Cooper. Who wasn't in love with Winnie Cooper? All right, guys. So here we are. We are at the time of the night. It is 10. Oh my God, it's 10:41 already. Holy crap, time's flying tonight. All right, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 samples, 5 blind samples of Old Forester in front of me. Old Forester 1897 Bottle and Bond, Old Forester 1910, Old Forester 1920, Old Forester 1924 10-year, and of course, my personal blend of Old Forester 1915, which is a combination of 1920 and 1910. I think it's more of a 1916 rather than a 15 because I do kind of a 60-40 blend of 1920 and 1910. I like a little bit more 1920 in there than 1910. So let's see which one of these samples went out, and let's find out if the 1915 blend is actually the best whiskey not in the Whiskey Row series. Here we go. Maybe we can get Brown Foreman to come out with it. All right, here we go. All right, first glass. How old are you? Because I feel like Perfect Strangers is a very short-lived time frame where you were growing up watching it like me and you, Ryan D. I am 40. What am I? 46 now? 47? Yeah, 1977. So 2017. So I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll be 47 this year. I'm 46 now, but I'll be 47 in July of this year. So there you go. Yeah, Balking is pet sheep. You know what? I'm not, since it's getting kind of late here, quick guys, I'm not even gonna, nose these too much. I really just want to get into the taste of them. Oh my God, number 2 has an incredible nose. Now I'm wondering if that's the 1910 straight up or if it's the 1915 blend. We'll see. But I think that's smelling all sorts of 1910-ish. Showing Up Marie D says, I'm 41 and Perfect Strangers was integral to my youth. There you go. Love it. Dude, you're 46? I would never have guessed. Dang, yeah, 46 years old. Master Drum is at the age where you can't remember how old he is. Ooh, 3 has a really beautiful nose here, too. What about Small Wonder? The show was a robot daughter. Yeah, that show creeped me out. I didn't like that girl the way she talked. Hi, I am. What was her name? Vicky. I am Vicky. Yeah, that show freaked me out. Let's go to glass 4 here. Ooh, glass 4 is kind of grainy, a little bit bright. Not too much going on. Okay, and glass 5. Ooh, glass 5 is a really beautiful nose. I would have guessed you're in your 30s. I appreciate that, man. Punky Brewster. Yeah, I had a crush on Punky Brewster's friend. Remember 6 in Punky Brewster? Wow, we're going like way back here with some of these shows. I'm really aging myself right now. Jesus. Ooh, number 6, number 5 has a really beautiful nose. I think 2, 5, actually a little bit of 3 too have the best noses. All right. So I'm going to start tasting through these, but yeah, give me your next question of the week. Top 5. We did top 5 sitcoms. We did top 5 cartoons the week before. We did top 5 cereals. Hit me with your next ideas, guys. Give me what you got. Oh, 6 was Blossom. Yeah, sorry. I thought that was Punky Brewster. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, see? There we go. Oh, top 5 best concerts you have gone to. Oh, I like that question. Mr. Jigs with a good one. JG, Jason, next time ask me about my Punky Brewster story. Okay, JG. Color me intrigued. Top 5 restaurants. Okay. Top 5 board games. Top 5 stouts. Top 5 scotches. Top 5 cars. Top 5 comedy movies. Oh my God. Comedy movies would be tough. Top 5 sandwiches. That could be a good one. That could be a good one. Top 5 childhood toys. Oh, I like this one. What's the one song that you listen to way too much? Probably Tom Sawyer, Rush. That was like my whole drumming. Like education, trying to learn to play that song. I do love the song, but I probably listened to that more often than anything just because I was trying to learn how to play it. Top 5 girlfriends. Yeah, I'm not doing that, dude. That's just dangerous. Top 5 unpopular opinions. Dan Catron with a super chat. Larceny C923 or James E. Pepper. Love the show. Man, for that, I'd go Larceny C923, dude. That shit's delicious. What do you dream about at night? I don't know. That's see, this is just fucked up, Brad Tanica. Top 5 Mets moments, if there are 5. I could probably give you 5. Oh my God. Top 5 Italians. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Mario from Nintendo would be number 1. Probably followed by Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. I would probably have to throw what's her name in there. All right, let's start trying these guys. Oh yeah, Rocky would be up there. Top 5 gangster movies. Top 5 Saints moments over the Travis. You're an asshole. Worst 5 Mets moments. I don't know. The last 5 seasons. Take your pick, Justin. Jesus, that's not even a question. Top 5 shoes. That's tough. I would have to really get in on that one. Rock Bottom says, Jason, I heard you mention previously that 1920 is different than it was a couple of years ago. How has it changed in your opinion, and what specifically changed in it? Rock Bottom, it's not really that hard for me. It got more banana forward to me. 1920 for a lot of years, or I'm not gonna say a lot of years, but for a long time to me, was very chocolate and cherry forward, and that's why I loved it so much. The recent batches have gotten more in line with that Old Forester banana profile, which I don't think is bad, but man, did I miss that. Do I miss those chocolate cherry notes from the older Old Forester batches? So that's what I miss. Subdivisions equals top 5 for sure. Top 5 regrets. Oh man, that I would have to think about that one, dude. Regrets, I've had a few. Oh, 2 smells fantastic. Let me try number 2 here. Number 2 is dark and delicious. Oh, man. That could be 1910. Very, very dark, chocolatey coffee profile. Unless that's the 1915 blend, but I'm not really getting a lot of that spice on it. All right, let's go with this one. I really like the question about the top 5. The top 5 toys I think I'm going to do. Top 5 toys I grew up with. Because I think there's some really fun throwback toys we can all talk about here. TCT says, Jay, I've been sipping M&J picks lately, and the 13 Colony has stepped up above the rest so far. Delicious. I'm so happy you're enjoying it, man. It definitely is a hitter of a rye. So, top 5 whiskey tubers. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, Voltron. Yeah, that kind of goes in line with my my cartoons, I guess, but not really. I think top 5 toys. Yeah, maybe kind of coincides with like my cartoons, to be honest. Because one would be Voltron. That I had the original like die-cast metal Voltron with the separate lines that you put together. And do you believe this shit, guys? My grandmother sold it at a garage sale. And before I knew it, in a blink of an eye, it was gone. My Voltron was gone. I don't even know how she sold it. The green line was missing its head. Because like you could like eject the head and it was gone. So, yeah. All right, number 3 here. Okay, so yeah, this will be easy. Number 1, Voltron. Number 2, Transformers. All the Transformers. Number 3, G.I. Joe. I had all the crazy G.I. Joes. Number 4, Thundercats. Easily played with a lot of Thundercats. And number 5 is going to be a little. I'm not going to say controversial. What's the word I'm looking for? Number 5 is going to be probably one that not a lot of people have heard of. If you have heard of this toy line, then I think, yeah, that would be something pretty crazy. Anybody in the chat remember obscure? That's the word. It's going to be obscure. Do you guys remember Starcom? Anybody remember Starcom as a toy? So Starcom was this. I don't even know if it was based off a comic book or whatever it was. I just knew I loved the toys. Basically, everything was motorized. It had like these big spaceships, and you hit a button, and it would open up, it would close. Everything was kind of motorized. Do you guys? Yeah, the little guys had magnet feet. Do you guys remember Starcom? Am I talking crazy? Whoa, never saw one as a kid. Only at conventions. What was the laser tag? Oh, laser tag. Dude, laser tag would probably be up there too. The only problem with laser tag is I never had anyone to play with. So there was 2 of them. You had laser tag that had the black laser gun, and you had the vest with the target on it. The other one that had everything kind of attached was Photon. You guys remember Photon? It was the helmet. You had the extension cord that had the thing in the middle that wrapped around you. It had a belt, and then you had the kind of more of the chunky gun versus the laser tag. That was Photon. You guys remember that? Lawn darts. The bad guys from Star. Yeah, you guys remember Starcom. This is crazy. Hell yes, I remember Photon. Photon. Giselle's Bourbon, top 5 worst roads in New York. BQE, the Cross Bronx, the Riverside Drive. Most of the roads in Brooklyn. I mean, take your pick, dude. I had Photon. All my friends had laser tag. Did not work together. Yeah, I remember that, Dennis. Yep. Yeah, Photon, man. That was the shit. Legos. Man, this is pretty good. Number 3 is actually kind of sneakily making a little bit of a comeback over number 2 here. Let's go to number 4. Oh my God, Sven, I had these. I had the Centurion mask. That thing was good. Dude, this is delicious. Whatever 4 is really good. 4 is the bee's knees right now. I like 4 a lot. Top 5 places you visited. Probably, I mean, I got to put number 1 is Italy. I mean, when I went to Italy, that was like life-changing for the first time. Yeah, for sure. Italy, going to Maine and going up to the top of Acadia Mountain, seeing the sunrise, sunset, that was amazing. I'd put Maine, Acadia Mountain up there. Colorado, going to see a lot of the stuff there, I think was amazing. Spain and Portugal, that would probably be number 2. I'd probably have Italy and then Spain and Portugal kind of near number 2. Some of my favorite memories I've ever had were in Spain and Portugal. Some of the best food I've ever eaten was in Spain and Portugal, not to mention Italy as well. But yeah, as far as in the United States, you know, then kind of after that, I went to England. I wasn't really that crazy about England, but Italy, Spain, and Portugal are probably in the top 3. And then I would probably put Maine and then Colorado there, my 4 and 5. This is really good, number 4. All right, let's go to number 5. Man, this is really tough. Some of these are really close. But what are the standouts in these 5? I feel like 1 isn't really doing it for me. Do you think Boone County's weeded is amazing? I wouldn't say it's amazing, but I do like it. I think it depends on the single barrel. The Master Drum, your top 5 people named Vic. Yeah, I only know 1 Vic. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, I only know 1 Vic. Yeah, Portugal's. What was the classic car you would get if you could have one now for free, says Eric Farrar. It's a good question, Eric. And I have an answer for it. Give me 1 second. One is okay, not great, not really doing it for me. Let's go to number 2 here. Number 2 is dark, delicious. That's either the 1910 or the, I mean, is that the 1924? That's really good. I don't think that's the 1924. Let's go to number 3. Number 3, I really, really liked. Yeah, number 3 has some good shit going on. It's dark. It has probably a better finish than number 2, but I like the dark flavors in number 2. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 probably has the best finish. It's really rich, dense, decadent. Have you had the Architect, Gordon Wade? Yeah, but the later batches are much better than the first batches. The Penelope beginning Architects were okay, but I think they figured it out as they went along. Dude, the finish on number 4 is delicious. It's insane. That's up there. So I think 3 and 4 are kind of the leaders in the clubhouse right now. Let's go to number 5. Number 5, unfortunately, it's good, but it's fallen a little flat compared to the other 2. Top 5 video games of all time. Number 1 is easy because it's the game that changed my world forever. Phantasy Star on Sega Genesis. You guys remember Phantasy Star on Sega Genesis? I remember I started that game. I didn't know what an RPG was, a role-playing game. I had no clue what the hell it was. And then I play Phantasy Star, and there was this shop, and like I was playing the game, and I really couldn't do anything else. I'm like, the hell are you supposed to do in this game? I found this little shop, and the shop said secrets for $200 basically, or whatever the whatever the primary currency was in Phantasy Star. I think it was Masita or something like that. And basically, you had to buy the secrets in order to pretty much unlock the whole game. So I saved up my money. I bought the secrets for $200, 200 Masita. I bought it, and then it ended up being like a pass to this bridge, and then it just opened up the entire game, and I was hooked. So Phantasy Star 1, that's the game that got me into other role-playing games, the Final Fantasies, the other Phantasy Stars that released. That one was incredible. Other games that I loved growing up, top 5 games. Dude, Legend of Zelda was absolutely life-changing. Love that game. Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 Champions Edition was the game that me and my friends all went and we found every quarter we could find to play and master that game. And then, let's see, after that, man. Yeah, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. That's a good one. Master and Drum probably sold those secrets on secondary. Just saying. Oh, man. Yeah, Metroid. Metroid was a great one, too. There's so many games. I mean, who could forget Contra? Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. The Contra was a lot of fun to play. Sonic the Hedgehog, dude. My Sega Genesis, I was the only one in my peer group that bought Genesis. Everybody else had Nintendo. But as Genesis kept coming out with bigger and better games, everyone started coming over to Genesis, and then Nintendo 64 came out. The Mario on Nintendo 64 was amazing. Mario Kart was amazing. But yeah, Super Mario, I think Super Mario on Super Nintendo, when he gets the Tanuki suit and he can turn into the raccoon and fly, that was probably my favorite. Holy crap, Mario's amazing. All right, let's start ranking these here. And let's see what we got. Oh, GoldenEye. GoldenEye was, NHL 94 with the fighting in the blood. James Burkhart, yes. That is definitely in my top 5. Me and my friends played that incessantly. We did not stop playing that game. All I know is I was always the Vancouver Canucks, and I always had Pavel Bure, who was the fastest guy on ice. And I would freaking zip around and score 100 goals with that dude, until he got checked and knocked out and his blood was on the ice. But dude, NHL, that is a amazing call out right there. Hell yeah. Yeah, the N64 GoldenEye is probably one of the first multiplayer games I really got into it, man. I think I told you guys the story of the video game. I was playing multiplayer. What the hell was that game? I want to say Metal Gear, but it wasn't Metal Gear. Gears of War. Gears of War, and I got so angry at a kid that I told him that he was adopted and his parents didn't love him because he was giving me all this shit online. Because you could chainsaw people, not just shoot them. So you kind of you kind of cut them in half too. Because the end of the Gears of War guns had a chainsaw on the end, and you could basically cut everybody in half instead of just shooting them. And I was doing that to everybody, and he got so mad and was calling me out and was telling me I suck. And I was like, yeah. I was like, your parents don't love you. You're adopted. Go F yourself. It was bad. That's when I pretty much stopped playing online gaming. It was bad. Uncharted. Oh, Uncharted. Uncharted's good. All right. Let's rank these here. I think I have two or three standouts. Four easily has the best finish. Best flavor. I think 4 is the leader in the clubhouse right now. 4 and 5 are so good. I'm going to put those at the front of the ranking here. I think number 2 here will be third, and these two aren't really doing it too much for me. Yeah. I'm going to go that, and then we have these two. So let me just short up my ranking here for the top 2. See what we got, guys. Yes, if you haven't yet, please hit the like button, guys. It really helps the channel. Helps me get to that 100,000 threshold. Dude, I think I like this one over number 1. This one is delicious. Oh, Wave Runner was a good game for sure. Oh, BT is here. What's up, BT? Brian Tracy in the house. Whoever mentioned, oh, Tecmo Bowl. Do you also guys remember ice hockey on Nintendo, where you had the skinny guy, the medium guy, and the fat guy? And I would just pick all the skinny guys and just fucking zip around the ice. It was amazing. Ice hockey was a great game. Gordon Wade, what's your take on Blueprint Bourbon? I don't think I've had Blueprint Bourbon before. Not yet. I think I'm going to switch these two. I like this one a lot. All right, guys. Let's find out what we got tonight. Let's see how this blind tasting went. Let's see what was number 1, number 2. Yep, ice hockey, John Elway football. NES baseball. Do you guys remember the power pad on NES too? You kind of like run and do the track and field game. That was, that was fun for about a minute. That was fun for a minute. Let's see here. I did want to, I think I went through all the stories. Okay. Sorry guys. Just going through Tecmo Bowl. I mean, Bo Jackson, everybody wanted to be the Raiders and Bo Jackson. Unstoppable. Zigzag across the field. That was the way to go. All right, guys, let's see what got last place in this blind tasting. Here we go. Wow. No joke. It is the 1897. Bottled & Bond 1897 Old Forester gets last place in this blind tasting. That is not surprising. However, I do think that this is one of the more underrated Bottled & Bond bourbons that's on the market. I think people kind of skip it because, well, one, it's not 1920. It's also not 1910. And it's also more expensive than a lot of the other budget Bottled & Bond whiskeys on the market. So, Old Forester 1897 gets last. I'll keep that right there. Let's see what's next. No shit. Come on. Really? Yeah. Sorry. 1924. 1924 gets 4th place in this blind tasting. I think we could chalk this up to 1924 being one of those bourbons where you should just drink it on its own. Because at 100 proof, it falls flat against stuff that's higher proof, a little bit more interesting. It's a nice bourbon, but it has absolutely no finish. And that's what killed it. Damn. Yep, 1924. It's the right call. Adam McIntyre, I agree. It's the right call. Number 3. This is where it's going to get it. So the top 3. So we have 1920, 1910, and then 1915. We have the blend of the two, and then we have the actual parts of it in the top 3 here. Let's see what number 3 is. This is the one where I thought was 1910. It is 1910. 1910 grabs 3rd. So it's between 1915 blend and 1920. I love this so much. Okay. Let's go look at this now, guys. Let's see what we got here. Holy shit. Guys, I'm serious. This is not, you saw me mix the glasses. I do not know what's in these glasses, but seriously, the 1915 won this blind tasting. 1924, Very close second, but the more I went back and forth with these, guys, I'm serious. This 1915 blend is the best bottle that is not in the Whiskey Row series. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if you have 1910 and you have 1920, blend it 60-40. 60% Old Forester 1920, 40% Old Forester 1910. And I'm telling you, it is a killer whiskey. There it is. Blind tasting, done. The evidence has come to the forefront. Hell yes. It's got depth, it's got flavor, it's got the longest finish out of all 5 of these, and it's not even close. The 1920 here has a good finish. I did pick up on that, but I think adding the 1910 just has a more depth of flavor to it. Guys, it's the best bottle not in the Whiskey Row series, hands down. So Terrence McDermott, that's a good question. Is it blended from the old barrels, the old labels, or the new barrels? Or the new labels, I should say. This 1915 was made with the new ones. So the new labels. So I have an old label 1910 here because I used the new one to make the blend. But I could tell you that the 1915 that I have in this bottle was all made with the 2 new labels. Do 60-40. 60 1920, 40 1910, and you're going to have yourself a killer whiskey. It's kind of like, 3 bottles in one, I guess. Unfortunately, you have to pay about $120 to make the blend, but it's worth it because and also let it mingle over time. And I think that's probably what made the difference here. I mean, guys, look how dark this is. I didn't do anything to this. I didn't add any coloring like 13 Colony. This is just straight up 1920 and 1910. Look at the color on that. It is beautiful. And then basically, this bottle has been mingling for probably almost a year. I put it in this bottle with the custom label that someone sent to me that was absolutely incredible. The more it mingles, I think the better it gets. Just bottle it, let it sit for like 6 months and revisit it. It's going to be one of the best bottles you get. And in a time of whiskey where there are so many high-priced bottles, the fact that you can spend, $120 on 2 bottles and make something even better, I think is incredible. This blend could be one of the best whiskeys ever on the market. And you just kind of wonder if Old Forest will ever actually put out like an actual blend of this on their own. But I don't think they should. I think it should be open to folks, us and whiskey geeks making our own versions of it and trying to, make it, where you can get it. So, Nick Foles says it's the best bottle that they never made. And it's true. This is, I thought it could win. I really thought the 1920 or the 1924 would take it out. 1924 gets freaking 4th place, and 1920 just misses it at 2nd place. 1915 for the win. There it is, guys. 1915 wins the blind tasting, as I hoped it would. So with that, gonna call it a night here, guys. Thanks for everyone for chiming in tonight, and thanks for all the questions. This was probably one of the more fun live streams I've done in quite a bit. Thank you guys for being so just for engaging on the chat. Hopefully, I got to answer a lot of your questions. For those of you listening on the podcast, I really appreciate you listening and also downloading the podcast. I really appreciate it. And with that said, like I always say, it's not about the whiskey; it's the people you share it with. Remember, next week I will not be live. I'm going to be taking a week off. We'll be traveling, but I will be back the following week with none other than Heaven Hill's Connor O'Driscoll live in studio. So hopefully that still happens. It is planned, so we'll go from there. And absolutely love you guys. Thanks. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey. It's the people you share it with. Cheers. I'll see you next week. No, I won't see you next week. I keep saying stuff. We'll not see you next week on the Master Drum. I'll see you in 2 weeks on the Master Drum. Cheers, guys. See you soon. Oh, thanks, Chris, for the last minute super chat.